Most people live their entire lives without ever discovering the one law that governs wealth. They rise before the sun, they labor until their bodies ache, they sacrifice their time, their energy, their dreams, and still they remain trapped in the same cycle of struggle. They wonder why, after years of effort, they have so little to show for it. They believe perhaps fate has cursed them, perhaps life has conspired against them, perhaps wealth is reserved for a chosen few. But I tell you now, with absolute certainty, it is not because they lack talent, it is not because they lack opportunity, and it is not because the universe is against them. It is because they were never taught the law. For 25 years I searched for the truth. I interviewed the wealthiest men of my era. I sat with Henry Ford, who built an empire of automobiles. I studied Thomas Edison, who turned night into day with his inventions. I listened to Andrew Carnegie, who rose from nothing to control the steel industry, and I discovered that every single one of them operated by the same law, whether they knew it consciously or not. Carnegie whispered it to me, and he said, "If you are to reveal anything to the world, reveal this, for men must know that success comes to those who become success-conscious. Not money, conscious, not luck, conscious, not chance, conscious but success-conscious." Now, pause for a moment and let that thought enter deep into your mind. You become what you think about. The dominating thoughts of your mind shape your destiny. Your external life is nothing but a reflection of your internal pattern of thought. If you hold poverty in your mind, if you dwell on debt, on limitation, on fear, then poverty will cling to you no matter how hard you struggle. But if you hold wealth in your mind, if you imagine abundance, if you breathe success, then wealth will find its way to you as certainly as water flows to the sea. Look closely at your own life and ask yourself, what are the thoughts that dominate your days? When you awake in the morning, do you immediately think of what you lack? Do you think of the bills, the failures, the obstacles? If so, you are programming your mind to recreate those very conditions again and again. You are planting seeds of lack, and then you wonder why only weeds of struggle grow in your garden. But when a man dares to discipline his mind, when he fills it with the vision of what he desires, when he imagines himself already in possession of the riches he seeks, then his entire being begins to move in harmony with that picture. His eyes see opportunities others miss. His ears hear possibilities others dismiss. His hands take actions that others are too fearful to attempt. And life, by law, rewards him with the very image he holds in his mind. Schools never taught you this. They taught you how to memorize formulas, how to recite facts, how to repeat history, but they never taught you the one subject more important than all others, how to control your own mind. They gave you numbers to calculate, but not vision to create. They gave you history to remember, but not imagination to build your future. And because they neglected this, generations have marched from classrooms straight into lives of quiet desperation, believing they must work harder and harder, while the rich, who understand the law, work first upon their minds. I say to you now, thought is power, thought is wealth, thought is destiny. Everything you see in this world, every building, every business, every invention existed first as a thought in the mind of one man before it ever became a reality for all men. Edison thought of light before light ever filled the streets. Ford thought of an automobile before a single engine was built. Carnegie thought of steel empires before the furnaces were ever lit. And so it shall be with you. Whatever you hold in the secrecy of your mind with faith and persistence will one day appear in your reality as surely as night follows day. Imagine two men working side by side in the same factory. They earn the same wage. They live in the same town. They are given the same opportunities. Yet 10 years later, one has climbed to wealth and influence, while the other still struggles to pay his rent. What separates them? It is not intelligence. It is not opportunity. It is not luck. It is thought. One man thought constantly of limitation, repeating to himself, "I cannot afford it. I cannot risk it. I cannot achieve it." His thoughts chained him, and he remained poor. The other said, "I will find a way. I will rise above. I will not stop until I succeed." His thoughts lifted him, and he became rich. The law makes no distinction between men. It is blind to race, blind to age, blind to education, blind to circumstance. It rewards only the one who dares to think in harmony with success. You cannot think failure and attract victory. You cannot think poverty and attract wealth. You cannot think weakness and attract strength. As surely as a seed produces after its kind, your thoughts will produce after their kind. Plant corn, you reap corn. Plant weeds, you reap weeds. Plant wealth, and wealth must come. This law is so simple, so clear, and yet so ignored. The majority of men spend their days thinking of what they fear, what they hate, what they lack, and then they are surprised when life gives them exactly those things. Do you not see? Life is not mocking you. Life is serving you. It is delivering to you exactly what you ordered with your thoughts. If you do not like what you are receiving, you must change what you are thinking, and so I say to you, watch carefully the pictures you allow to dwell in your mind. For they are more powerful than armies, more binding than chains, more creative than tools. They are the architects of your destiny. Control them, and you control your future. Release them carelessly, and your life will drift like a ship without a rudder. If thought is the foundation of wealth, then the great question becomes, how do we use it? How do we take this invisible force, this unseen law, and bend it so that it produces riches, opportunity, and freedom in our lives? For it is not enough to merely know the truth. Knowledge unused is wasted. The world is filled with men who know but do not do, and so the secret lies not in mere understanding, but in application. Napoleon Hill declared, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Now, do not let those words slip past you like a mere phrase. Listen closely. Conceive, believe, achieve. The formula is complete. First, you must conceive the idea, imagine it, picture it, dare to see it in your mind before it exists in your hand. Then, you must believe it, saturate it with faith so strong that no doubt, no ridicule, no obstacle can shake it from you, and only then will achievement come as the natural and inevitable result. Most men fail because they violate this order. They attempt to achieve without first conceiving. They attempt to build without a blueprint. They attempt to harvest where they have never planted. And when they fail, they curse life, never realizing that the law itself was never against them. They were simply ignorant of how to apply it. So let me show you how to apply it. First, you must have a definite desire, not a vague wish, not a passing hope, but a burning, pulsating desire that grips you day and night. Wealth does not come to the man who says, "I would like to be rich." Wealth comes to the man who declares with certainty, "I will be rich," and then builds his entire being around that command. Desire is the starting point of all riches. Without desire, thought has no fuel. Without desire, the imagination remains idle. Without desire, faith has nothing to cling to. But with desire, everything becomes possible. Once you have chosen your desire, you must translate it into a definite plan. Too many people walk aimlessly through life, waiting for luck to strike. But the wealthy do not wait, they plan. They write down their goals. They see the end clearly in their minds, and then they outline the steps by which they will reach it. Do not concern yourself with whether every step is clear in the beginning. Simply define the destination, and the path will reveal itself as you walk. Faith will illuminate one stone at a time, but you must take the first step. Now comes the greatest secret of all, the subconscious mind. This vast, unseen power within you is the connecting link between thought and reality. Whatever picture you impress upon your subconscious, backed with faith and emotion, it will accept as truth and set to work to manifest. Subconscious never questions, it never argues, it never distinguishes between reality and imagination. If you feed it fear, it will build more fear. If you feed it wealth, it will build more wealth. Therefore, you must take deliberate control over the images you allow to reach it. This is why I instruct men to repeat aloud every day their definite desire to write it, to speak it, to see it. For repetition is the language of the subconscious. The more you repeat a thought with emotion, the deeper it sinks until it becomes a belief. And once it becomes a belief, it must become a reality. Let me illustrate. A man once told me, "Mr. Hill, I have tried your method, but it does not work." I asked him, "What did you try?" He said, "I told myself I would be wealthy, but nothing changed." I looked him in the eye and said, "Sir, did you tell yourself with conviction, with fire, with absolute faith, or did you whisper it with doubt in your heart?" He admitted that in truth he never believed it. He repeated the words, but in his heart he carried fear, and so his subconscious obeyed not his words, but his true belief, his belief in lack. Do you see? Words alone are powerless. It is belief that ignites them. You may repeat a phrase 1,000 times, but if deep within you secretly say, "It will never happen," then you are programming failure. But the moment you convince your inner self, the moment your belief matches your desire, then the law begins to move, circumstances shift, people appear, opportunities arise. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. And so, I say to you, guard your faith. Build it deliberately. Surround yourself with voices that strengthen it, not weaken it. Associate with men of vision, not men of doubt. Read words that lift your spirit, not words that poison your mind with fear. Every influence that enters your life is either building your belief or destroying it. Choose carefully. Once desire and belief are united, you must act. Thought without action is a dream. Belief without effort is a wish. But thought, belief, and action combined, that is creation. And here is where the average man falters. He waits for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. He says, "When I have money, I will act. When I have more education, I will act. When I have more security, I will act." And so he waits and dies waiting. The wealthy do not wait. They act with what they have, where they are, and in the act itself, new doors open. Let me tell you, the law of wealth is not magic, it is not luck, it is not chance. It is simply this: what you think, believe, and act upon with persistence, you must receive. Not overnight, not without resistance, not without trials. But inevitably, just as surely as night follows day, you will receive. Consider the farmer. He plants in spring, he waters, he waits, and in autumn he harvests. If he becomes impatient and digs up the seed to see if it is growing, he destroys it. If he abandons the field because the harvest is not immediate, he starves. Wealth works the same way. You must plant the seed of desire, water it daily with faith, protect it with persistence, and in due season you will reap the harvest. But here is the tragedy: most men quit before the harvest. They grow weary, they lose faith, they surrender at the very brink of success. One more step, one more day, one more effort, and riches would have been theirs, but they stopped, and life does not reward the quitter. Life rewards the persistent. Therefore, I say to you, fix your desire, believe in it with all your soul, act upon it daily, persist until you succeed, for this is the law, it cannot fail. The only question is whether you will apply it, and remember this truth above all: money is not the true prize. The true prize is the power you gain when you master your own mind. Wealth is simply the evidence that you have aligned your thoughts with abundance. Once you master this law, money will follow you, opportunity will seek you, success will cling to you, because you will have become success conscious.